This is how you make these amazingly beautiful and super tasty pie crusts. So you start by taking 2 cups of flour. So I just have my little flour bin down here. Yes, I use a lot of flour. And I'm just gonna scoop 2 cups and I just kind of give it a shake. There we go. So 2 cups of flour. And that's gonna be it. I am gonna grab a little extra flour in there just because I will be grabbing it, sprinkling it on here. But now I'm gonna take a teaspoon of salt. I do like the kosher salt because I think it does a pretty good job. I like how it has almost like it feels like salt crystals in it that burst with flavor, which is why I like it better than just the regular table salt. But I'm just taking my pastry blender. Before I got this pastry blender, I would just use a fork. I think I grew up using just forks, but okay, so then the next ingredient is lard. I don't know that this is the best brand. This is just what they had at Kroger. And so I'm gonna take, it comes with 2 cups. I only needed 1 cup of it. And so we're gonna take this and put it in there. And then I'm gonna use that pastry blender and I am just going to, oh, that's kind of loud. I'm just gonna blend this until it almost resembles sand. You just want to, and it doesn't take very long to do this, but you want to do all of your blending before you add in the liquid. So in a minute, we're going to add in a 1/4 cup of, it's supposed to be cold water. I'm not really good at making it cold, and to be honest, I've never noticed a difference whether I use cold or not cold. But so I'm just blending this up with that pastry blender. But pie crusts have just been something that I can't remember not making pie crusts. My mom loves pie crusts, but she didn't, or loves pies, but she didn't love making them. And so she taught all of her children how to make pies. And that way we could still have them anytime she wanted them. So Thanksgiving gatherings, I come from a large family, and I think we have anywhere between 20 pies at our Thanksgiving because we are just a family that really loves pies. And I've had fun venturing out with the different types of pies that I make. My favorite is probably the blueberry pie, the blueberry cream pie, and it has just a fun crumb topping on it. And then my second favorite is probably going to be the lemon velvet pie. But I'm going to be honest, it changes sometimes. So this last year, I made my first coconut cream pie, and I loved that pie. I was like, this hands down has got to be my new favorite pie. So I'm excited for when I make it again and give it a try, a taste test to see how are my preferences this year. But if you look at this, and let me show you. So it is very, it resembles sand. And I do need to remove my rings because I am going to get my hands in there. I don't want to get stuff all in my rings. So just put that back there. And now I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of, we're going to say it's cold water, but I'm going to be honest, it's really not. Here is a 1/4 cup of water, and I'm seeing that I've got a little bit of the lard on this. So I'm actually going to just incorporate that in real quick because I want to. I think anytime there's ingredients, I don't want to like mess anything up. I just want to follow it the way. The funny thing about this recipe though is it's in my head. So I had never had it written down ever before. I don't even know if my mom had it written down, but just in my head, one that I've always used. And I have never found, not that I ventured out a lot, but you know, I've tried lots of different people's pies, and this crust every time has been my favorite. I love how my crusts turn out. All right, so I'm just going to set that to the side. If I was to put that in there, it's going to really make a mess. And so I'm just kind of mixing this. I'm being careful not to over mix it. And I'm just going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half and then press. Fold it in half, press. And then do that just a few times until pretty much the liquid, you can't feel any wet spots. It's all, and that's going to be it. So here is my pie crust. Yes, it is all over my hands, and in just a sec I will wash my hands, but I'm going to wait until I get this laid out. This is why I take my rings off, is because it would definitely be in those rings, and yeah, don't want to deal with that. But okay, so I'm just going to get all the little pieces off the bowl. It's pretty clean. And this does make 2 pie crusts, or it makes a top and a bottom. So I am just going to Squeeze that, put it in half, and now we have 2 pie crust. I'll move this bowl out of the way. All right, this is where I am going to use that flour. I'm just going to take a little bit, sprinkle it on the counter. The biggest part with rolling out the pie crusts, I have found, is you don't want to let it stick. So see how I just rolled that out and it left a bare spot with no flour on it? I don't want that, and so I am going to make sure that it is not going to stick. All right, so I got that, and I'm trying to roll this out to be the size of my pie plate. Again, you do not want this sticking because that's where you're going to run into problems, and we're all good, and there's no sticking. So roll it out to about the size of the pie plate, and then I want to kind of just, you know, gauge how I want it to be all the same thickness throughout the entire thing. And so just kind of making sure it is the same thickness everywhere. Let me find my pie plate. All right, I got my pie plate right here. Just going to put it around, and I can see that right here, if I put it there, it needs a little bit more on the width there. So I'm just going to roll it just a little bit more right there, still maintaining that same thickness. Put that down, and it has a nice amount, probably about 1.5 inches going all around the whole entire. So then I am going to just hope that it didn't stick, and it didn't. Put that pie plate there, gently lift it up, and it is there into the pie crust. So I'm just going to kind of unfold it. If it tears a little bit, it's not a big deal because this stuff, when you use lard, is so forgiving. So right now I'm just kind of pushing it into the pan because I want it to be, I want it to make sure there's no air pockets down there. See how there's a little gap right there? That's okay. I can break off a little piece right here and just kind of put it in there. And there we go. There we have our pie crust. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the pie crust right here and just kind of fold it under. I want to just think of, see how this goes to the edge once I folded it over? I want it to have a nice edge on it. And so I'm not going to fold it so much that if I was to push it down, it couldn't reach that outer edge. So I am just gently folding, tucking that under. That isn't that pretty right there, but it's okay because once we crimp these edges, nobody is ever going to know, including yourself. So just kind of tuck it under there, right there, and we are done. We've got it tucked. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to just kind of do this around the edge. So I'm just kind of pinching it, and this is giving it that nice, pretty, decorative edge. I just like how these turn out. I love how the crust is a little bit lifted up there, so it's going to make sure it can hold a ton of filling in there. It just, when you use lard, I used to always use Crisco. There we go. And the lard is just so forgiving. So now we have the beautiful pie crust. You can't even tell where I had to piece it a little bit on the edge, but this pie crust is ready to go. Depending on what recipe you follow, you might have to bake it first. I think it's called par bake it. But I'm going to make the blueberry cream pie with this one, and it does not require that you par bake it. At least I hope I'm using the right word, par bake. Just want to gently, you know, sprinkle a little on there, but you don't want it sticking. But I think because I only thought through making one pie, and then I started to make this and realized this makes 2 pie crusts. I probably need to come up with another pie. So I do have some apples, and I thought, I bet an apple kind of crumb pie would be pretty good. I'm going to grab that other pie plate. Yep, it's going to work. But I bet an apple crumb pie would probably be so good, other than there's so many treats this time of the year, and I want to eat them all because they're all just so good. All right, that's got a lot going off the edge, so I'm probably going to trim that one a little bit. Let's get all this in there. Yeah, I'm going to tear off just a little of that because it's a little too much. And then I'm just going to start tucking it underneath here. And the tucking thing works really well for the open, like the open face, I think is what they're called, pies. If you're going to put the lid on it, you wait to crimp it. But I need to do a separate video that shows you that, because when you're going to put any kind of lid, this pie crust recipe only makes enough to be able to do either 2 bottoms or a bottom and a top. So that will need to be another video if you want to put a pie crust as the lid, or like those really pretty lattice pies. Those are just so pretty and they're so fun to make. Oops. So I'll have to make another video to show you how to glue that top and bottom together so that the insides stay in. But there we go. We have our second pie. And I know like right here it's not gorgeous, but it doesn't matter because that's on the inside and nobody will see it once you put filling in. But this is how you make these amazingly beautiful and super tasty pie crusts.